If you're a high school basketball player that's playing on an AAU team this summer, this is my 4th episode in a series where I've been sharing the skills that you should be showing off in your AAU games. Now, over the last few weeks, we've talked about showing off your positive energy. We've given you ways to show off your control on the basketball court. We've talked about showing off your on-ball defense. Well, this week we're going to stay on the defensive end of the court, and we are going to share how and why you should be showing off your help side defense. Let's jump in and discuss. Welcome back to Hard Smart Together. I'm Coach Dave. I'm here every week to help basketball players become the smart, confident players that coaches love. So we're talking about the defensive side of the ball again. We're talking about showing off your help defense in an AAU game. Now let's be honest. Summer AAU games are not the place where help defense is emphasized as much as maybe your offense, your on-ball defense. There's just not as much of a focus. And some teams have been together for a long time, but a lot of teams aren't together long enough in order to put together a really good team-based, defense with a lot of help. That's why last week when we talked about on-ball defense, we talked about you're kind of on an island a lot in the AAU game. But the fact that not many players are focused on their help in summer AAU gives you a great opportunity to show off how good of a help defender you are, but also help defense is where you get to show off your defensive basketball IQ. And these coaches that are evaluating in the stands, you're going to stand out. Because they're going to all of a sudden see you fitting in to their defensive schemes, no matter what kind of scheme they're running. It doesn't matter if they're running zone or running man or a pressing team. It doesn't matter what defense they're running. If they start seeing your basketball IQ stand out on the defensive end, which can in the help scenario, they're gonna say, "Oh, we got to take a look at that player." Right? It also helps you form habits for next year. So we're going to talk about 3 ways that you can show off your help defense in your AAU games today. Before I do, always like to give you a chance to download, if you haven't already, the 8 intangible skills coaches love to see in players. It comes in a checklist form with ways that you can implement these skills both on and off the court. I put a link in the description below, or you can simply go to hardsmarttogether.com/intangibles, and I'll be sure to get you that free gift. So what are these 3 ways that you can show off help defense? Well, one is use your voice to help. What do I mean by use your voice to help? There's a lot of chatter that goes on in an AAU game. And a lot of it isn't really useful, okay? So be that player that stands out for using their voice on the defensive end, okay? While your teammates are guarding the ball, be that player that says, their name, and then I've got your help left, or I've got your help right. Well, it tells them they've got some help and they're not on an island. It tells the offensive player, I probably shouldn't go that way because that player's aware and playing help. It tells the college coaches that are evaluating, wow, this player is helping their player with their voice. They have a defensive basketball IQ that we're liking to see. Well, that's not the only thing you can use your voice for. Screen right, screen left, ball up. all the things that you can help on defense. So show off your help defense with your voice. And let me tell you, in an AAU summer game, these little details are going to make you stand out from the players that maybe aren't using your voice on defense. The second thing you can do to show off your help is to focus on your positioning and your footwork. Now, we've done entire episodes on help side defense, okay, and talking about the positioning and the footwork. And I'm not going to go into all those details. You can go back and look and find those episodes, but I'm not going to go into all those details, but focus on not just being necessarily glued to the player that you're guarding, which is easy to do in an AAU summer game. Okay, I want to show what a great defender I am, so I'm going to just stay on the player I'm guarding. Now, if your coach is, they've got a defensive scheme where they're saying, no, touch this player, don't let them have the ball, it's a different story. But you should be, when your player doesn't have the ball, you should be getting off your player and maintaining vision of both the ball and the player that you're guarding. Okay, you should be in a position to help stop a drive that's maybe coming from weak side, or be help side for somebody that's guarding the ball. Okay, be quick about it. When your player gets the ball, we talked last week about being under control on your closeouts as part of on ball, but being a great help defender is going to also help you be a good on ball defender. And again, if you've got a bunch of players on the court that aren't in great help position and aren't changing their position based on ball position and man position, guess what? That's showing off your defensive basketball IQ. That's showing off your help defense. And it's showing off to those evaluating coaches in the stands. Okay? Footwork wise, remember to have kind of a slightly closed stance to the ball. That gives you the ability to close out under control, to be quicker to close out to your man. Okay? Not a full closed stance, but just a slightly focus on your footwork. Because not every player on the court is focused on positioning and help defense and footwork. So if you are, another way that you're showing off this skill. And then the third way that I want you to show off your help defense is be a defensive quarterback, be a defensive organizer. In AAU summer games, there's so many fast breaks. There's so many advantage, disadvantage, right? You're in an advantage on the offensive end or a disadvantage on the defensive end. You're in a disorganized, defense because there's a break or whatever the case might be. Be the organizer, okay? I've got ball. You take first pass. Watch the wing. Watch baseline, okay? Again, with your voice, you are telling everybody there, your AAU coach, your teammates, the evaluating coaches, and you're getting in a great habit, but you're telling everybody, I've got a really high defensive basketball IQ. And again, it stands out from the players that aren't doing this. So be a defensive quarterback, be a defensive organizer in your disorganized defensive situations that so often happen in AAU games. So you show off these three things: using your voice for your help, your positioning and your footwork, and your being a quarterback, being an organizer of a disorganized defense. Boy, that is going to make you stand out. That is how you show off help defense in your AAU games. Now, I always like the likes. I love the comments. If this was helpful, please leave me a comment below. And until next week, remember to play hard, play smart, and play together. See you next week.